why did you ask me on a date? It gets fucking worse. The noodle was limp, he tried, and I was like, I don't think it's gonna work, buddy. I gotta go to sleep though. No, I did go on a date with someone, and they were actually British, and that was the worst experience of my life. But that's not my fault. He said it was a date, and then he said some fucking British lingo words that I didn't understand. It was limp noodle. No, we went to the beer garden. I love a good beer garden. I don't drink that much anymore, but I do occasionally. We went to the beer garden. I didn't understand what he was saying he was wearing. I think it might have been just like guy lingo, and maybe it wasn't like British lingo, but he said like a sports coat or something. I didn't know what that meant, okay? So I Googled. I don't want to talk about it. He wore like sports something, like sports jacket, sports coat. My dumbass is confused, and so I type in sports jacket. But the thing is, like, my searches are catered towards me. So it was women's Lululemon. It was Lululemon outfits, like, okay. And so I wore fucking yoga pants. Yeah, they wore a sports jacket, so that meant like, I guess they wore like a dress top. And I looked like I was a mom off to go do morning yoga. And so because he said that though, and because what I Googled was just like literally yoga wear, I just wore like, you know, a yoga fit. And so then I assumed also that it wasn't a date, you know? So I'm just like off doing whatever the fuck. He did that thing, you know, that thing that guys do. And a lot of you guys are guys, so don't be shy. We know you do it. He like started doing that thing about like, let's talk about stocks. Like, let's talk about investments. And he's talking about them. And I'm like, yeah, okay. And anyways, but he was like talking about this and that and blah, blah, blah. And like, I know what a fucking stock is, okay? He was not a crypto bro, no. And it's hot when guys know how to handle their money and do smart things. But then he did the whole thing like, you probably don't understand what I'm saying, do you? He's like, I'm probably boring you with all of this talk about smart shit. And I was like, interesting. I had no idea what he was in, but his mom was the president of Saks Fifth Avenue. Even worse, finance bro and a Nepo baby. Well, you know what? They're from the UK, guys. They're from you three peoples in chats. And you know what? Guys, he started doing this whole thing. He was like, do you want to know what he did? We were in and we were eating, we were like not eating, we were just drinking and talking, and we were there like not late, but pretty late. And he was like doing this thing. He's like, yeah, like all these people, you know, we just wonder if like what their connections are to one another, this and that. Then he started being like, so can you give me, if your ex were to list your like top best qualities, what would they be? It's like, what? So of course I'm gonna have to make them up right now, because what do you mean you want me to think about what my ex would say about me? He slept in a closet because he didn't want to be near me. So I don't know. Anyways, and then he's like, this is what my ex would say about me. I work too much, dedicated to the grind or some shit. All this shit. And this is why I had a bad taste in my mouth about British people for a long time. No, it doesn't. It just gets worse. It gets worse. It gets fucking worse. And he was like talking about like all that stuff. And I was just like, I think my ex would say I'm silly. Like, the fuck? I'm really nice, silly. So then all of a sudden, they're like talking. We were trying to get to know each other. And then I thought it was a date magically, because I didn't think it was a date, you know? And then he was like, yeah, come back to my apartment thing. It was a nice ass apartment. I just slept over because it was late and I don't fucking know. He would have had to driven me home, and I was like, he had a fake plant in his room because he wanted to give the impression that he has plants. Bro, he had a fake plant, and I was just like, why do you have a fake? Oh, it gets worse though. He said, oh, so you work at Hooters with like the other girl. Basically, he dated another girl that worked in my Hooters a long time ago though. He's like, you work at Hooters? He's like, well, I know every single girl at Hooters has daddy issues, so what's your beef with your daddy? Huh? I was like, well, I like my dad. I get along with my dad. And he was like, nah, that's not possible, because you wouldn't be working at Hooters then. And I was like, I did it as a joke with my mother, and I didn't think she was gonna take me to the interview, and then she did. And then he went and talked about his daddy issues. he's like talking about, he's like, yeah, I don't want kids because I don't want to end up like my father. And I was like, why wouldn't you just not end up like your father? If you don't want to end up like your father, just don't be like your father. Duh. Like 1 + 1 = 2, motherfucker. And then he had a limp noodle, you know? The noodle was limp, he tried, and I was like, I don't think it's gonna work, buddy. I gotta go to sleep though because I'm tired. Then in the morning he drove me home and I was like, cool. And at the time I was living with my parents, I went home and then he texted me like a week later and was like, yeah, I don't think I want to do that ever again. I was like, cool, okay, cool. All right, he's like, I thought we could be friends because you said you played video games and I like video games, but I don't think we could ever be that again. Like, we could let's never do that. I never want to do that again. I was like, yeah. And he's like, also, I think that you're looking for something that I'm not looking for. And I was like, huh? What am I looking for? And he's like, I think you're looking for a long-term relationship and I'm just not. But now we are actually friends, so we don't speak of this day, this night, ever. I'm so glad that thing didn't go up. I'm so fucking glad. And it was not like I had to see it. We just knew it wasn't going up. That's how great it was, okay? Yo, that shit had me fucked up. I cried at work because then he went and told people that I wanted to date him when I'm the one who thought I was going to motherfucking midday yoga and I was just like a fucking yoga mom. And he had the nerve to tell me, I think you want a relationship and I don't want that right now. Bitch, why did you ask me on a date? I'm confused. Why did you ask me my best and worst traits in the perspective of my ex? Because I lied. They were probably a lot worse than what I said. Like, what is going on? And I felt like I was like gaslit, so I got pissed. And then a week after that, he'd like message me. He's like, I thought about it some more. I think we can be friends. I think we can hang out and be friends. I thought that's the goal in the first place, okay? I'm bamboozled. I'm bamboozled, and then you got yourself a nickname like Limp Noodle, and that's what you get. And it's been like Pingy, how long has it been? Like 3 years? Good person, not a great dick.